Hey guys, I just want to tell you guys that some viewers may find some things disturbing in these horror stories, so viewer discretion is advised. So the thing is, you guys, is that I had to repost one of my last video ones. So basically, um it was like the three disturbing horror stories one, but I had to basically change like the background sound because YouTube gave me a copyright claim and now I have made this right. So basically, I need to base. Also added uh, a fourth story in there that I didn't want it to put when I first released that video. So there's you're gonna have it at the fourth at the fourth one. So enjoy it, you guys. Hi, I won't share my name due to privacy reasons, but I want to share a story. This happened 5 years ago when I was 15 years old. We had an elderly servant at our house around 60 years old. He used to do gardening and other household chores. Everything seemed normal until one day he came to me and said, "You're very beautiful." After saying that, he went back to his work. At that time, I wasn't mature enough to understand in what sense he said that. I felt a little creeped out but shrugged it off. Then one day I invited my friends over. While we were talking, he came over and said to my friends, while pointing at me, "This girl, I find her very beautiful." I felt extremely disgusted and my friends started laughing. I told my mom about it, but she said she would talk to him. She also mentioned that she didn't believe he would mean it in that way because he had been working with us for 10 years. After that, I started staying in my room most of the time. Everything seemed normal again until something very disturbing happened. This part still traumatizes me whenever I think about it. My mom had gone out for some work, and my dad, who was usually away for business, was home that day but asleep. I went into the kitchen looking for something to eat, and suddenly that same man came into the kitchen. He said something that made me feel like the ground beneath me had disappeared. He, he asked for my phone number and said, "I would really love to talk to you privately. You are very beautiful." I got scared and immediately went into my dad's room, locking the door behind me. When my mom returned, I told her everything. She couldn't believe that he had gone that far and immediately fired him. We even shifted to another house, not only because of this incident, but also because I had to move to another city for higher education. Now, whenever I think about it, I wonder what else that man could have done. The thought still creeps me out. This happened over a decade ago when I was 12 years old. I live in a small town in Oklahoma, and in my neighborhood, the houses are fairly spread apart, separated by woods. It was a school day, so my grandma picked me up from school and brought me home. This was the first year that I got dropped off at my house alone. Before this, I would just go to my grandma's house after school. I would get dropped off around 3 p.m. and my parents would be home around 4:30. Not that big of a deal. Today, for some reason, my dad wasn't going to be home until later around 7, and my mom, a teacher, wouldn't be home until around 8 p.m. because she had parent teacher conferences at the school. This happened in early fall, so it wouldn't even be dark until like 8:30 p.m. I did what I usually did when I got home. I ran upstairs, got on my Xbox 360, and played Minecraft with my friends. Today it was just me and my friend Seth. I was playing for about 2 hours when I heard a car door shut in my driveway. No one should have been here until like 7 p.m. My house is set up to where my upstairs has windows that look over my driveway. So with my mic on and controller in hand, I went to the window to see who it was. Maybe my dad got home earlier than expected. I looked outside. It was a red truck. No one I know drives a red truck. The person pulled into the middle of my driveway, sideways, like he owned the place. When I looked out the window, I saw a man with a hat wearing a big camel hoodie and jeans. It was September, so no one should have been wearing a big hoodie and jeans in Oklahoma. But the time I looked, he was already almost out of view. Going up my walkway to my front door, I thought maybe it was one of my dad's friends or someone my dad hired to do something, but he would usually tell me if someone was going to be coming over. Soon after, I hear a knock at the door, then another. I go to my other window that has a better view of the walkway up to my front door. I see the guy walking back down the walkway. I switch and go back to looking through the windows overlooking my driveway. I'm relaying all of this to Seth, still with my mic on. I tell Seth that he's walking back to his truck. Now instead, he walks past his truck and tries to open my garage side door. At this point, my heart sinks. I tell Seth that this guy just tried to get into my house. Mind you, it is literally broad day at like 5 p.m. Luckily, it was locked because sometimes we forget to lock it. After he tried the door, he starts walking to my back patio. I drop my headset and I quietly run downstairs to see what he is doing. I get downstairs and stand behind the wall so I'm not visible from the back door living room windows. I just listen. I hear him try to open the door. Then I hear a thud. It sounded like he dropped a brick on the ground or something. At this point, I'm more scared than I've ever been. I wanted to call my parents or grandma, but I didn't have a cell phone yet. The only phone in the house was in my kitchen. I would have to cross my living room to get there, and he would be able to see me if I went into there. A few seconds after the thud, I peeked around the corner and he was gone. I run back upstairs and put my headset back on, telling Seth that he just tried to open the back door. As well as I'm telling him this, I hear a car door shut. This time, when I looked out the window, he finally got in his truck. I looked at the truck closer, and I noticed the only thing he has in his truck bed was a crowbar and shovel. He sat in his truck for what felt like a few minutes. During this time, Seth told me to get my iPod and take a picture of his license plate. He was parked to where I couldn't see it. Then he drove backwards out of my driveway and down the road. A few minutes after he was confirmed gone, I went downstairs to see what the thud could have been. I get to the back door and see that the doormat was moved. Both big plant pots had been moved as well. He was looking for a key. Holy beep. We have a hidden key back there too. The key to the back door was under one of the smaller plant pots on a ledge near the door, not the bigger ones that he had checked under. I went to the front porch and all the pots looked like they had been moved too. I don't know what I would have done if he was able to find the key or if he just broke in. After he left, I called my dad and told him what happened. When my dad got home, he had a cop come over and I told him what happened and gave him a description of the guy. He never came back. The guy never came back. I know that the title sounds a little weird, so let me explain. When I was 5, my parents took me to circus in Las Vegas. It was fun for a little while. My parents told me to never talk to strangers, but I was a talkative child. The day my parents left the hotel room, I followed them, getting ready to play games with my cousins. We ended up in an elevator. The couple in front of us got off on the floor with bright colors and laughter. Of course, I was curious, so when my parents got off, I stayed on. I clicked on the floor that the couple got off on. It was great. There were games and shows. I walked around for a little while and there was a show that started. I sat down and watched the show. Back then I used to love clowns. It was a great show. One of the clowns took me onto the stage to play in a joke. After the show ended, I got up to leave, but one of the clowns stopped me. I was confused until he said I did well on stage. He said that the rest of the group wanted to meet me. Being a naive, I agreed. The clown took me backstage, but no one was there. He stood there and looked at me for a while. He started to get closer and I soon realized what was going to happen to me. I thought he was going to touch me because earlier in my life the same thing happened with a cousin of mine. But to my surprise, he had something behind his back. I don't quite remember anything specific other than it being shiny. I'm going to assume it was a knife or something to hurt me. He cornered me and I started to scream. Before he could lunge at me, I heard my mom running through, calling my name. When I opened my eyes, the man was gone, and to this day, I have not a clue who it was. I'm 14, about to be 15. I was on social media, just scrolling. A man started to follow me. I checked out the profile, no videos. Soon after the account sent me a message. All it sent was my old nickname that only dad and mom used for me, no one else. Ruski. I was horrified. I blocked him immediately. Ever since then, I put my accounts on private and I don't go to Vegas anymore. Small trigger warning for this one. It's not like some story about ghosts or monsters, more about how dangerous it is to explore places like this. Not too long ago, me, minor female, and my friend, who was slightly older, forgot though male, and some of his friends' brothers decided to go to this tunnel under a bridge in our city. It's nothing fancy, just one of those drain tunnels for whenever it rains. It was under the road, blah blah blah. We would frequent this place as somewhere to hang out since we live in the ghetto and don't exactly have anywhere to hang out. At least not at the time, since my friend didn't have his driver's license yet, so we would hang out there as just a way to be left alone and talk and just have fun. It was cool. One time, me, him, some of his brothers, and I think one of his friends all came with us to explore. We ended up going deeper than usual and found this spot that was connected to a manhole. We were looking around at the cool graffiti and the not so appropriate anime stickers, but there was a smaller tunnel that felt like more like a crawl space off to the left side. My friend and his friend decided to crawl inside. My friend turned on his camera and recorded just in case he found anything interesting. Me and the others sat there giggling about the ridiculous stickers and checking out the cool graffiti. Then, when my friend came back out, they said that we should leave. I asked why. My anxiety started to kick start, and he said that he'll tell us when we get out. So we started walking out, and once out, I basically said, "Dude, what the heck?" Here's where the trigger warning comes in. He said that they found an old, dirty, and stained mattress, and on the walls were inappropriate photos. What was worrying to him was that he said they may be underaged. I was shocked and I got incredibly uncomfortable. And since then, I keep thinking about that tunnel and I wonder what happened down in that tunnel. Sorry if this story was a bit short. I don't have the best memory, so I can't really put in any details. That plus, I don't really want to add too many details for obvious reasons. Thanks for reading.